Okay, back for what? Second video, week 4 for Reaper Rehab.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
a Pod 2 TA, and I'm accompanied by the super smart iPad Duncan, Sir Dunk, also a Pod 2 TA.
hmm
And today we're going to go through activity 4, which is going to be debugging and writing Python functions.
Yes, sir. You ready for me to share?
Mm-hmm.
You say yes.
Mhm.
All right, let's go. All right, VS Code should be coming up.
Still going.
Loading.
So in this week, we're really focusing on functions themselves, and functions are essentially, I think we talked about some functions in the last video, and I know we talked about them in the course videos themselves. But as you open that up, we're essentially going to be making our own functions, our own little tools to help us program.
So here is the file. We got unit tests again. We're testing summing, making uppercase, adding stuff to a list, and then we got fizz buzz.
Fizz buzz.
Good stuff. And it looks like we are importing this one. So it looks like we have a whole module where we are supposed to write all of our functions.
Not all about this.
That's nicely typed, by the way. Look at that. All right, let me start up the virtual environment.
Yeah.
And then we can get going on it.
Mhm.
Let's go to TA projects 2024. Devin and Duncan. Source RR. So this is how we load up virtual environment. You see we got it loaded now. And we're on week 4. Awesome.
Nice.
Let's see if we can run it.
Nice. 9 tests.
Here, let's split this. Nine tests, 6 failing. Oof. We got some work to do.
So this is a bit different than the last time we did this in the previous video. In the previous video, we were editing code in a file that looked really similar to week4.py, but we had several tests and we edited code within each test itself. This time we're making a series of functions in week4_funds.py, where we're going to write code on the lines 4, 7, 10, 13, where it says pass, and there's a little prompt telling us what our functions with these tools that we're going to make are actually going to do. And then within the test class in week4.py, it's going to test each of the new functions that we make. And there are more tests than functions because some of the functions we're going to make are going to be tested multiple times.
Multiple different cases. Yes, very nice explanation.
Multiple different cases because we want to make these functions more generalizable. Like in NumPy array, we could take in an empty list. We could take in a list of 1, 1.0, and a string. So we're making generalized functions that can take in multiple different things and still give us the output we want. Am I missing anything before we get started?
I don't think so. It's a great explanation.
Thank you. I practice in the mirror every morning. Okay, let's blow up week4funds.py. That's where we're going to be working. So in this, just as a little teaser, Duncan is the one who wrote these out, and he wrote them out very nicely.
Thank you.
Focusing on the first function, which is going to be sum_values, and whenever we want to make a function, we use def. So we're going to define a function. Yep, no, that's def. We're going to define the function, some values, and we named it some values because the goal of this function is to sum some values that we give it. There are a couple things right after some values, like a, int, b, int, and an arrow saying int. So the a is the first value that we're going to be given, b is the second value we're going to be given, and the int following each input variable is saying that as they come in, they need to be integers. And we went over that in the previous video. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, no floats, no string, no bools. The arrow all the way to the right is what the function is going to return. And it's saying that the function has to return an integer as well. So if we were like 2 by 3, it'd give us a float. The function would error out because the float is no longer an int. So it has these built-in checks with minimal code. So it's clean and it's efficient.
Helps with documentation too, so people can understand what their input should be and what their output they should expect.
All on one line. Okay. Anything else before we start writing code?
No, that was very nice.
So Duncan gave us a nice prompt on line 4. This function takes in 2 integers, A and B, and returns the sum of these integers. So it looks like we just need to add A and B. So let's get rid of the pass for now. And functions all need to return something. So let's go and let's just write return. And it's indented a bit, and that's okay. And now we're just going to return the sum of A plus B. And this can be done a couple different ways, but to start simple, let's just do A plus B. And let's see what happens.
I like that.
9 tests, 6 failures, 9 tests, 5 failures.
Very nice.
Perfect. Easy peasy. You want to do this one a different way too?
That's up to you.
I don't want to add things like NumPy if we don't have to. But there
I'd
are
agree with you.
that have a sum function as well for more complex procedures, but since we just have 2 values, it's better just to keep it simple, which makes it easier for readability as well.
Yeah, use the operator.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Yep, so the next one is testing the is uppercase function, and it's giving an example of H, and I think the following test on line 18 also tests the same function, and it's testing it with lowercase, so it'll test it. The first one will check to see if H is capital, while giving it a capital H. The next one gives it a lowercase h. So first one should return true, second one should return false.
Because the H is capital in the first one, and the H is not capital in the second one.
So let's write our function on week 4 funds. All right. So before I even read Duncan's prompt, is uppercase, so we're checking to see if it's an uppercase. We have a single input, unlike the last function. So this is just taking in the variable letter, and it's making sure the input is a string, and we're returning a bool, so a true or false. Okay, let's write code. I don't remember exactly what code we need to write, but we're gonna figure it out.
Let's do it.
So we know we're gonna return something, and my intuition tells me this won't take many lines of code to do. I don't want to go to the internet.
Don't go to the internet. We got this.
All right, fine.
There must be some inherent functionality that comes along with the string that will tell us, right?
With the string itself.
With the string type, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have Pylint?
I think so.
All right, let's see what we can do. So let's just start messing around a little bit.
Let's do it. That's the best way.
Let's get rid of the pass and let's get our return statement. And we'll go do some trial and error until we can figure it out.
All right, I love it.
assuming the string class has an inherent function that would help us check to see if it's an uppercase, can we just do letter dot?
Ooh.
So letter is going to be a string, and string has a series of functions, just like how NumPy had a series of functions with it. And just looking through, we have capitalize, and I don't think that's what we want. It could be something we deal with. But let's keep going.
You want me to scroll?
Good. Encode. Yeah, scroll for a bit. Is alpha is decimal. Keep her going. Is lower. We could use, but I want to see is upper. Down a couple more. Down, down. Yeah. Click it. Hover over is upper. Return true if string is an uppercase string. False.
Mm.
So this is exactly what we'll be using.
Just like this?
We will need to give it parentheses
Why is that?
because is upper is a function. Just like the functions we have made, even if there are no explicit input values, we still need those two parentheses to call the function itself.
We want to call it, we don't want to pass the literal function.
All right, let's run it.
Nice.
5 down to 4.
Nice, Dev.
Beautiful. All right. What's the next test we're looking at?
So I think that worked on both of these, right? Add element to list.
So I do love the loops, but we're at a stage where we are not using the loops yet. We're just going to add a
No
single
loops.
list. So in this on line 24, we're testing the function add element if unique.
Mm.
And the function below it tests the same one. Interesting. Scroll down a little bit. I just want to see how many tests we have for this function.
Well, let's just worry about the first one here, right?
All right, that's good. Take me over to week 4 funds, please. Scroll down a little bit. Perfect. So what does the prompt say? This function takes a list of strings and a string. It will return a new list that appears, or new list that appends the new string to the list only if it is not already part of the list. So there's a couple different parts to this. First, we need to see if the new element of the list that we're adding is new, or if it's already contained in the list. And if it is already contained in the list, we do nothing. And if it's a completely new element, that means we add to the list itself. So let's do this in parts. Let's get rid of the pass. And I think this is going to be where we start messing with the debug function, but let's make some errors first. Go down a line. And first, let's just check to see if the new string is in the current list that we have. So let's make a new variable, and I want to call it is string unique.
Is string what?
Unique.
Also, I think Dev, this might have been some vestigial questions because I think we haven't gotten to the operators, but we can still do it this way.
Oh, you want to do it without operators?
Well, like I just never, there's no tests. It's only these two, and it's all unique. I never test. I think this is just looking for a function because I probably wrote this and then realized that we never did we never introduced those topics.
I don't remember if it was in the week 4 video or week 5.
I think it's the next one that we go into it.
Okay. Well, we can still do it and talk about it here as we go.
Okay.
All right. So is string unique? So boop, boop, boop. Let's set it equal. So in this, I don't remember the exact syntax, but we're going to figure it out through trial and error. Just like how the letter variable in the previous function is a string with a series of assorted functions that are packaged with it, list also has a series of functions packaged with it as well. So let's do list, or sorry, what's our list called? Initial. Let's do initial. Dot functions append is going to be how we add, but we'll use that later. We don't want to clear, we don't want to copy. Scroll down for me. Is there a contains?
You get all the hidden ones here.
Those are scary. We don't want any of those.
There is a contains.
The contains.
It's a hidden though.
I don't know if that's what we want, but we'll go through trial and error. Also, I kind of want to see what it does.
You want to go with contains?
Yeah, click it. That looks scary, but I kind of want to see.
Keep going down this path. I know where we're going.
So it is a function. It will take an input. So give me a parentheses, and the new thing is going to be the new element. So I want to see if the initial list contains the new element.
Like that.
Yeah, I don't know if this will work, but trial and error. Feel like I know the words themselves. So my intuition is telling me to start messing around with the debugger because we are testing certain things. We won't be able to actually see the value itself. So can you put a break on line 13? Yep. So there's that little blank space next to the numbers, and Duncan just put a breakpoint, that little red dot. So as we run our test, it will call this function and it will stop our code on whatever line we place that breakpoint. So because we are calling this function from another script, another file, week4.py, we'll need to run week4.py. Yes.
Any special way?
So top right hand corner, there's a left a little bit. Left. There is the arrow, and that just tells us to run the file normally, but we want to debug the file. So there is a little drop down arrow. We'll click that, and it will give us some options. Did you click it?
I did. It's just slow.
Oh,
Maybe you can't see it.
I can't see it.
Yeah, it's there. It says debug Python file. Should I click that?
So a drop down will happen. You click debug Python file, and if you notice at the top of the screen, several options come up. The first one is well, so the first one is just continue play, and that would
I'll
run,
read them off. Yeah, you can't see it.
and I'll run to the next break. So if we had multiple breaks, we could do that, or if we just wanted to run the rest of the file and ignore the rest of the breaks, that's what we would click. The next one is step over, so this would step to the next line of code. Except if we are on a function itself, it would take us into the function, and
No. This one will just move us to the next line.
yeah, this one just moves us to the next line, regardless of.
Oh, you're on this. Yeah.
The next one, this would move us to the next line if the current line we were on does not contain any function. Line
Step into.
Yes, step into. It does contain a function that is contains. So we don't really want to go inside that. That'll just take us on a wild goose chase. Well, I'm not happy to go down.
That steps into the calling function, right?
The next one is going to be step out. So can we step into the function?
You want to? I thought this would be a wild goose chase.
It is going to be a wild goose chase, but it helps us show what the following one is going to do. Oh, it brings us out. We never went in. That's probably because the function itself doesn't work very well. Okay. So we'll keep going through the different panels up there.
Yeah, brings us nicely to the restart button.
Exactly. So an error happened. I don't really know what happened, but I want to go back to where I was, back to that breakpoint, and rerun everything to get back to where I was. And to do that, I'm going to use that little green circular button, which is just reset, restart, rerun the function in debug mode. And we're back. So can you highlight line 13?
Wait, do you want to go over the square first?
Nah, not yet.
Okay. Highlight what?
Yep, just from is all the way to the end and ignoring the tab function. And you can either copy this or you can right click on it. Can we see your right clicks?
No, you cannot.
That's okay. If you were to right click on it, you should get an option at some point that says evaluate in the debug console.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, we'll just copy it and paste it in the debug console.
Oh, I right clicked.
That's okay. Does the same thing. And it works. It does not give us an error.
Should I see what value is string unique?
Yep. False. So it's working the way I think it does. There are also other ways to do this as well, since we're in the debug console. If you were to, yep, that works too. If you were to go all the way over to the left side of the screen, you have initial, we have the new value that we made, and we have new element, which is Devin, in our local variables. Yep, all those. So that's just a convenient way to see what our variables are as we're coding. Nice. Yeah. Hello world, false, and Devin. And that's the list coming in as initial. All right. So the function does work the way I think it does, because Devin is not an element in the list, or Devin is not, the initial list does not contain the new element, Devin.
You want me to try it with one that is contained? So like with world.
Yeah,
And what should we get?
we should get true. Nice, because world is contained in our list, which is just hello and world.
Mm-hmm.
So part one of the function is done, which is just testing to see if the variable itself is inside, or the new element is inside the list.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we need to append the new value if it is a unique element. So let's break the debug, and that's going to be the last element in our debug, the square, just to stop. And yeah, let's go back to the terminal. Yeah, nice. Okay, so we see if it's a unique string. Perfect. Now, is this where we start getting into if statements?
I think so. This is not yet. This should just be add element to a list because that's all that we test.
What's the second thing before that pi?
Huh?
Um,
We're just adding. Well, all of them are unique. We just want to have it. Or actually, no. It is. This one does have turtles. So yeah, I guess we have to get into that.
All right. If statements. Let's go. So now, can you enter and we'll go to a new line? So is string unique tells us if the string is unique. And if it is, we want to do something. And if it is not unique, we want to do something else.
Uh-huh.
Similar to what I just said, we're going to write our first if statement. And that's just going to be if. We're going to check if a certain condition is true. And the condition that we're checking is string unique. So, yep, is string unique. And we know is string unique is either going to be true or false. So if it's true, we're going to append to our list. So give me a colon, semicolon. I was getting confused.
Colon.
So this first section is going to see if is string unique is true. So if it's true, add to the list. So we are going to return, and we are going to return let's go initial. So we'll take our current list, add a dot, and the most common thing that you do with lists is append. So we'll append, give me a parentheses, and we'll append our new element to the list. Beautiful. Run it, please. Or let's run the week4.py. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
4 failures.
I think you dropped down by one.
Oh, I did?
I think so.
Oh, nice. So that's probably the first test that we had.
No,
No?
didn't drop down by any.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Let's put
I mean, it is working. It's all fizz buzz and the turtles.
hmm,
So we just gotta do the turtles one.
so next let's do an elif. And this will be a new line. Elif. And what is the opposite? So we're going to take is string unique, but we don't want to test the same condition. In this scenario, we want to test the exact opposite. So the opposite of, to make
Just do an else.
bool opposite, we could just do an elf, but I like elifs because you can see them in other languages. No, let's just do else. I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about more elifs in the next one.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we do more advanced conditionals and loops. Let's get another comma or colon.
Colon.
Enter, and let's just return the initial list. So it is unchanged it if there is no unique value, or yeah, if there is no unique value.
Run it.
Run it.
Oh,
We went up.
none. I like turtles. Turtles. Hello world Devin is none. I think, Devin, what it is here is we, instead of using the contains, we should use the in keyword
All
for
right.
the list.
Get rid of contains. But a space in between. Yeah, get rid of the last one. So checking to see if can we flip initial and new element?
That's a good idea.
Check to see if new element is in initial.
Is it isn't?
New element in initial.
Should we maybe break it? Break point it?
I'm confident.
I just ran it. There was 5 errors.
Oh, you did? No. Yeah, let's breakpoint it.
Breakpoint running.
I do love to debug.
All right, we got Devin as our new element, and the initial is hello world. So should it be unique?
It should be unique. So is string unique should return true.
It is false.
Mm,
New element. Let's try it. Is then it doesn't like that. That's right. New element is not in initial.
Is contains a default function?
I think contains and in are basically the same.
Well, like
So this is new
it's
element, Devin,
yeah.
initial is hello world. So is it maybe because we're saying, is this unique if this is in this? So if it's already in it, that means it's unique.
If it's already in it, that means it's unique. Explain.
So like we're saying our variable is the string is unique.
Mm-hmm.
And we're saying it's unique, the string is unique if the new element is in initial.
Oh, okay. Since it's not in it, since
It
it's
should be not, right?
yeah, we're going to have a not in front of it. Yeah.
Mm. So now we got Devin, hello world. So if we did this right, what should his string unique be?
This string unique should be true. And let's step over.
Boom.
Nice. Step again. Beautiful. And we know it should return what we want because it went to the right conditional and went inside our first conditional.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nice. And continue.
Now we got turtles.
Mm-hmm.
I like turtles.
Mm-hmm.
Should 13 be true or false?
False. Let me step.
Bang.
So it should go to the else and just return our original list.
I'll stop it here. Get out of that. Go back to terminal. Speed 5. Oh, there it is.
Nice. Oh, now we're going to fizz buzz.
Fizz buzz.
I remember doing if statements for this one a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What's fizz buzz?
Let's go to the prompt for it because I always forget this part. Classic programming problem takes an integer and returns the string fizz if it's divisible by 3. Buzz if it's by 5, and fizz buzz if it's divisible by 3 and 5 and none otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. So this is where we start introducing if statements, and we could do nested if statements too.
Try to stay away from nested.
Yeah, I think that might be next week. All right, let's get rid of pass and let's just start
You want to do some pseudocode first and then write it through out there, or you just want to jump in?
Let's do a little pseudocode because I don't remember the full problem itself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to type in an integer. We're already testing to see if n, the value we're bringing in, is an integer and return a certain string. So fizz buzz, fizz buzz. What's the first condition that we're looking for?
I think we do fizz if it's divisible by 3.
So,
Fizz divisible by 3.
so I want to just type blah, 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 return. Let's do if equals, or if n is divisible by 3, return fizz. Yeah. The next one is if n is divisible by 5, return buzz. Next one, if it's divisible by, is it 7 or 3 and 5?
3 and 5.
3 and 5, return fizz buzz. Yeah. And
And then if it's not any of those,
anything else, return none. Can we match the capital and lower cases on
what do you
line
mean?
1 through 24?
These should be capital, you're saying?
Actually, so everything has to be very literal, Mickey. Is it capital F and capital B for that? It's
Sir.
yeah. So judging from our pseudocode, we're going to be using if statements just like the previous one.
Mhm.
So let's do enter after line 21.
After 21?
Yeah, after 21. Excuse me, and write our first if statement. So this is going to be pretty similar actually. So if blah, 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 and we want to see if it's divisible by 3. So I want to see if after we divide n by 3, I want to see if the remainder is equal to 0. But I want the remainder itself from that. So just to divide by it, I'd get 3. If I want to get just the remainder, isn't it going to be 2 backslashes?
Distance it out.
Yep, by 3. And if it is completely divisible by 3, so like 9 divided by 3 would give us a 9, no remainder. 7 divided by 3 would give us something decimals. So I want to see if it is equal to, so that's going to be 2 equal signs, 0. Colon, enter, and let's return the string fizz. Nice. So this won't satisfy all of those failed tests, but it should satisfy one. That's testing for 3. Let's see what happens. Yeah, that test in particular we should pass.
Uh,
Didn't like it.
None. I think, Dev, you're thinking of the mod operator, and I believe that's a percent sign.
Oh, it's the percent sign. What does 2 backslashes give us?
I don't know. Shall we debug?
Yep, let's debug and find out. Or does that just error out and it's nothing?
No, we would have gotten an error.
Yep.
1.
Mm,
Maybe it's the number of times that n goes into 3.
Hmm.
Is it help in Python?
I think so. I think you might be right. But could you just do n 2 double backslashes and 9?
I think it's so like if we did 1, I think it would be 3. And then 1.5.
Oh, cool. New function.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. While we're here, you want to do it with the percent sign? 3. Yep. So 3 divided by 3 would give us no remainder. Because n, I'm pretty sure, right? Equal to 3.
Yeah, we try another value.
Yeah, let's do a 9. That's not a remainder.
Oh,
Why would debug?
that is why we debug.
And right now is 3. Blah, 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 blah. Could we do the other way around? 9% sign 3. Yeah, that's it. Because we were dividing n by 9, so 3 divided by 9, we want the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Do you want me to test anything else?
I think that's good for now. We might
Okay.
come with line 25 later. So let's break our debug. We got a good idea of what we should do.
What shall I do?
Let's replace our double backslashes with a percent sign. Beautiful. Then we want to check to see if our numbers are divisible by 3. So n is going to be a 3, 9 in our perfect scenarios. If it's equal to 0, return is. So let's run week4.py. 2 failures.
Ooh.
And what do we have left? Buzz and fizz buzz.
Buzz and fizz buzz.
Cool. So let's just do it bit by bit. Let's do an enter after line 24. And this is going to be the elusive elif exclusive to the Python environment. So give me an elif
Hello.
and we'll follow a very similar way. N %, 5, because now we're just checking to see if it's divisible by 5. So any remainder, if it's divisible by 5, is equal to 0. So double equal signs, 0. Perfect. And then give me a colon, enter. And now we're going to return the string buzz. Mute. Let's run it.
Oh.
Now we're down to 1. So there's a couple ways to do the next one. There's let's make an error first because we have time. Then we'll talk about the error and then we'll fix it a couple different ways. So can we do an enter after line 27 and just follow along with the pseudocode? So this is going to be another elif. And we're going to have the same conditionals. I'm pretty sure, do these need to be wrapped in parentheses? We'll see. We'll see with errors. So we want to see if n %3 is equal to 0.
Is this what I'm writing?
Yep. And we want to see another conditional as well, so we use and we're going to do the same thing except with 5. And now we're going to return fizzbuzz. So I'm pretty sure this should not work.
Why not?
I want to see.
Oh.
Yeah, I want to see if it fails first, and then we fix the failure. So can we put a breakpoint on line 22? Actually, yeah, that works too. Let's debug week 4.py. And before we do anything else, can you go back to the test? So we know we passed the test on 31, on 34, because we have fizzbuzz 3, fizzbuzz 5, buzz, and we want to test fizzbuzz specifically. So we are looking to see if fizzbuzz, once we take in 15, so it's visible by both 3 and 5, it'll give us fizzbuzz. So can we go over to week 4 funds.py? What is n? 3?
I doesn't want to highlight for me. N is 3.
Nice. Hold on. My Discord thing is popping up. So let's continue.
Continue.
So this just jumps to the next test where we call this, and our n should be 5, the second test.
Yep.
Up, moves it over there. Continue again. So now we're 15. N is divisible by both 3 and 5, because 3 times 5 is 15. Can we step over?
Stepping over.
This takes us into the first case, because
Oh,
this
goodness.
is technically true. 15
Yes, it is.
by 3, so it will return fizz, even though we want fizz buzz. Over again.
Say it again.
Step over again. And since we return, we exit the function. So we're done. We're not going to test for anything else since the first condition was satisfied. And since this will return fizz and it does not equal fizz buzz, we're still going to get that failure. Work to do. Let's break this and let's fix it.
Yes, sir.
Yep, that one failure. Let's go to yeah. So there's a couple ways to do this. The way that we'll do this in the least amount of code as possible would just be to rearrange the code itself. I'm just going to work off the assumptions that ellipses have, where it's going to test the first condition, second condition, third condition,
Mhm,
to test line 28 before anything else.
mhm,
So let's switch the conditions.
mhm.
Um, we can just copy and paste it, or you can select both lines, hold Alt, and move it around. But that's just fancy VS Code.
I'll do it. I'll do it your way because I know
Yeah,
you like that.
only
Okay.
thing. It's very satisfying to see it.
Where do you want me to move it?
Can you take the prompt too?
Say it again?
You take the prompt too on line 27.
Oh, yes.
Let's just move everything above line 21 or to line 21. Yeah,
Fair.
yeah. Let's change the elif to just an yep. Change that to just an if. And change line 25 to an elif. Blah, 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 and then just quickly just peruse it, make sure it makes sense. If it's divisible by 3 and 5, fizz buzz. By 3, fizz, 5, buzz. And the reason why this will work is because on line 22, we're going to check both conditions. So if it was a 3, it would satisfy the first part of line 22, but not the second. And if it were 5, it would satisfy the second and not the first. So it has to satisfy both conditions before going any further.
Mhm.
Let's test the week4.py file.
I like the confidence. You ready?
Yeah. Can satisfy all the tests,
Oh,
even the one we didn't even look at.
nice job. Crushed it.
Should
Good rationale on that one.
should be explicitly answer the last test that we didn't look at.
That's up to you.
Mm. So if a Python function doesn't hit its return statement, it will just return none. And that's what's
Mhm.
happening with line 40. We have 11, which isn't divisible by 3, 5, or 3 and 5. So none of the return statements in week4.funs are ever going to be called. So 23, 26, 29 will never actually happen. So
Mhm.
none will come out of the function. But if we wanted to address it, honestly, you could just uncomment line 30. No,
We just,
so let's do an else. Yep, and give it a colon. And we're going to return none. Yeah, this seems cleaner to me.
more explicit, if you will.
Yeah, we run it and it's still okay.
Nice job, Dev.
Beautiful. Thank you for typing.
Of course, can I make some suggestions on this?
Yeah.
Just to keep things, I know you like things clean and organized. I think one thing we see here is a couple of overlapping statements. We have this typed out twice. We got this typed out twice. And so I'm thinking maybe we could just make these variables so that we only have to perform this computation once,
Mhm.
which might make it just look a little bit nicer and read a little bit better. What do you think?
I like it.
How would I do that?
So similar to how we produced a true or false on line 13, we're gonna do the same thing, very similar thing actually. So yeah, give me 2 enters.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Give me an indent. So first we're going to see this is gonna be is n divisible by 3? Is that too long? It's just
Whatever you want.
I'd rather it be descriptive.
I'm with you there.
Yeah. Let's make it equal to, and it's going to be the exact same as n% sine 3 is equal to 0. Yeah, beautiful. Let's do the same thing, but is n divisible by 5? Yeah, beautiful. Now that we have those two variables, that will be our true and falses. We can just copy and paste those into the different areas where we actually use them, which makes things a bit more organized, a bit more efficient, and so we only have to do the calculation once. It'll save us what? Hundredths of a second? 200ths of a second.
Maybe. The reason I like doing this, I know this is interesting for a small problem like this, but something I like about this is that if we ever need to change things up, it's very clear. And as these conditions expand, it's easy to add them in. And then, you know, also like percent sign it's a little bit hard to, can be difficult for other programmers to understand. So, you know, it's always nice to be very explicit about what you're doing.
I mean, it did confuse us for a little bit too.
Exactly.
Nice, still runs.
Awesome. Everything tested out perfectly. Great job, Dev.
Good job, Sir Dunk.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else for week 4?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think we can wrap that one up.
Yeah. So just high fives all around. Wow. Thank you for joining us for week 4. What's the preview for week 5?
Oh yeah, sneak peek.
No more unit testing, I think. But I think
I think we get rid of that. Let's see. Get out of here, week 4. Week 5 activity.docs. Can't even open it in VS Code. I'm gonna need you to share that one yourself.
Let's see. Activities. You said week 5. Week 5 activity. It's a doc. I remember this one. I made this one special. Okay. So in this, we started getting rid of unit tests and giving a series of prompts to essentially start loading in the data set that in other assignments we're going to actually start visualizing and doing statistics on. So in this, we're working with the very popular iris data set used for many machine learning projects. And we're essentially going to extract the data, index it out in various ways, and start using some NumPy functions like mean, median, just performing basic statistics on it. And there's some extra NumPy. It'll be fun.
It will be.
I had fun making this and doing it. Yeah, that's the preview for next week for week 5.
Perfect.
Thank you for joining us for week 4. And we look forward to coding with you guys next time.
And have a nice day.